Throughout the entire history of games, there's been amazing characters with even more amazing stories attached to them. People like Arthur Morgan, an outlaw that's slowly realizing that the choices he's made throughout his life might have been the wrong ones. Kratos, a god trying to escape the monster he used to be while raising a son terrified that will grow up into him. Solid Snake, a genetically engineered soldier questioning whether his entire life was decided before he was even born. And according to some people, what you actually really need in gaming is this guy. Just some random customizable dude with zero identity, no defined personality, no real perspective, no real story, because God forbid that players have to step into the shoes of an actual character instead of turning every game into some sort of self-insert fantasy. And honestly, I think this obsession with needing every protagonist to be you is really hurting storytelling in games, because somewhere along the line, people stopped wanting to actually experience the story through a character and wanted everything to be about themselves. And it's why this article arguing James Bond maybe shouldn't be in video games because he's too defined of a character to properly project onto might be one of the most backward takes on storytelling that I've heard in a very long time. And it's because the reason that certain characters like James Bond, like Kratos, like Arthur Morgan, like Joel from The Last of Us actually work is because they're not you. They have flaws that you don't have. They have beliefs that you don't have, a personality that you don't have, and they'll make choices that you wouldn't make in a story that you're not part of. You're just experiencing through them. And that's the beauty of storytelling, that it's about them, that you're experiencing something like a real person would, except it's not happening directly to you. I think a lot of people's fascination with turning every character into a blank slate to project onto is slowly stripping away the one thing that makes these characters memorable in the first place. Now, I don't know about you, but this story might be one of the dumbest fucking things that I've ever read. It honestly hurts my mind to even think about. James Bond isn't a character that should be in a game. James Bond doesn't represent who I am as a person and doesn't make the same decisions I make and wouldn't make the mistakes that I would make. Yeah, of course not. He's a fucking super spy. He goes around, he says hello to all the freaking ladies, he shoots guys, he punches guys, he drives cool cars, he's got cool gadgets. What the fuck is wrong with that? Why don't you want to be James Bond? You know, a lot of people grew up, not even a lot of people, not even people like me, but including people like me, we grew up idolizing incredible characters. Goku. Everybody fucking loves Goku. Everybody wanted to be Naruto. Everybody loves Luffy. Anime characters are surrounding everybody that people love and adore. And then, yeah, sure, if you want to be in the anime, whatever, maybe you write fan fiction or maybe you draw your own manga or something like that. And that's cool. That's good for you. But the story that you're so in love with is happening to other characters that you're also in love with. So I don't understand this mindset of needing every character to just be a blank slate that you could project onto. You don't need to decide what the character's going to do. They're making their decisions and you just get to watch and enjoy. You just get to sit back and experience it as it happens. It's not your choice, it's not your decision, it's not your story to tell. You're just walking through it. I see a lot of discussion online in places like Reset Era and in places like Reddit and places on Twitter where people are basically saying like, unless the game has a character creator where I can make the character look like me, essentially, I'm not gonna play it because I can't connect with the characters. I can't connect with the world or the story unless I see myself being part of it. But have you ever watched a TV show? Have you ever watched a fucking movie? Why do so many people idolize Brad Pitt or Leonardo DiCaprio? Because they're cool and they wish they were them and they see them in the movies and they go, my God, these are cool movies, cool stories, cool characters. And yeah, you can envision yourself taking part of that if you really want to, but you're connecting to them because they're doing a good job portraying the character and they're making you feel the emotions and they're making you feel the story through them as you're watching them on the screen. It's not you. When I first read this article on PC Gamer titled, "Hear Me Out, What If James Bond Just Shouldn't Be in Video Games?" I honestly didn't know what to think. If you didn't know, basically a bunch of people recently got invited to a preview event for 007 First Light, the upcoming James Bond game that looks like a mix between Hitman and Uncharted, and it's developed by IO Interactive, the geniuses behind Hitman, so no wonder it takes inspiration from that, right? And of course, James Bond is like almost one for one. I mean, sure, Nathan Drake is more like Indiana Jones, but he's basically James Bond at the same time, so adapting that kind of gameplay style just makes sense, and the game looks fantastic. The gameplay looks exciting. It looks like Uncharted, which is what a lot of people have been waiting for, a brand new Uncharted game, and it looks like now we're getting that with James Bond. The writer of this article, Joshua Wolins, got invited to the same event, and he got to spend time playing the game. And the first thing that stood out to me within this article that has to be rage bait at this point is that he called James Bond Jim Bond. And if you're calling James Bond Jim Bond, then what the fuck are you talking about, man? Everybody should immediately not pay attention. His name is not Jim. His name is James. He's James Bond. James Bond 007, not Jim. Not Jim from The Office. Okay, let's be for real here. So he's saying, my time with Jim Bond sparked other thoughts. Thoughts that probably don't belong in a preview. Thoughts like, what if James Bond just shouldn't be a video game protagonist? I know what you're thinking, and first of all, I'd like you to stop calling me those names. Second, yes, GoldenEye for the N64 is a classic. You're also not really James Bond in it. You're a hand with a pistol, and sometimes in cutscenes, Pierce Brosnan's face. But games that try to make you feel like James Bond, that put you in his actual shoes and attempt to embody him as a character, they fall down. Now, this doesn't seem to be the case, especially when the previews for this game from literally every single other person who has played it has said that it feels phenomenal to play, and that playing James Bond is exciting, and that he's funny, and that he's cool, and that he's charming, and that he perfectly captures what you want James Bond to feel like when playing a game, and that it's a perfect blend of the Hitman style of gameplay with its stealth and the ability to move through a space undetected, but then also when you need to, kill everybody, punch everybody, do the things that James Bond needs to do when it becomes an action thrill ride like a lot of James Bond movies turn into. This guy's saying, can't be me, dude. I can't put myself in those shoes. Part of his charismatic arrogance is that he's suave and unflappable. Well, great, good for him. I am not suave and I flap at the slightest inconvenience. I simply don't fit into him. Should probably reword that. Whenever I, as Bond, fumble a counter, miss a shot, or try to duck into cover only to fling myself headfirst into a desk lamp, I break the entire spell of the character. It's just that, again, maybe that character should not be a video game character. Now, what I think is that maybe James Bond should actually be a video game character more than any other character from any movie. He's so perfectly fit for video games. You can easily translate some of the James Bond movies directly into a game, and they've done it before. And yeah, not all of them have been good, but realistically, you could boil those games down directly into an Uncharted style game, and it would work perfectly. Yeah, James Bond would end up killing way more people than he kills in the movies, but so what, dude? So what? And that's the other thing. You're not him. You're not killing those people. He is. You get to do it as you go through the game. The beauty of it being another character is that you could also take the actions that you wouldn't take in real life. In real life, I'm not going to kill anybody. But in a game, as Joel, I would kill everybody to protect Ellie, 100%. But in real life, am I going to protect Ellie? No, I don't know who you are, Ellie. I'm not giving up my life to protect you. Sorry. I really just don't understand this take, and I don't understand when I see it described in other places that people just really cannot play games unless they see themselves in it. I understand if you're playing something like, for example, something where you clearly are a blank slate. Something like Dark Souls, which has a character creator. If you want to make yourself whatever, if you want to be the ugliest character of all time in Dark Souls, go right ahead. It's not really telling a story that your character is directly involved in. You're playing through it, you are moving through the story, but it's kind of just like things are happening and you're killing things, and because of that, things continue to happen. There's no dialogue that you're taking part of. There's no choices like that you're actually that your character's doing. So if you want to be a guy that's yourself, go for it. If you want to be yourself in things like Fallout, go for it, whatever. It's so based on character decisions that it doesn't really matter in something like Fallout. But the reason why people grow up idolizing so many characters from movies and from books and from TV and from anime and from anything like that is because of the characters involved in the story and what those characters are doing in that story. You like Goku because he's willing to sacrifice everything to beat everyone and save Earth. You like that he's courageous. You like that he's strong. You like that he's a good guy. He's Goku. You like Vegeta because he's basically the anti-version of Goku, and he's mean all the time and he's always angry and he's Goku's rival, but ultimately he still wants to do the right thing. You like him for it. You like Joel because he'll do anything to protect Ellie. And yeah, he makes a lot of rough decisions, and yeah, he's not really such a good guy. But as that story goes through, you love him. You love the characters because of who they are. It's not because it's yourself. And it would make those characters in no way stand out if it was just you. Because by taking the role of these characters and experiencing their story, it allows you to experience something that you wouldn't normally be able to experience, a story that you wouldn't normally be part of, and decisions that you normally wouldn't have to make. And you get to experience something that is amazing. Throughout all of history, we've idolized cool characters. Achilles. Who doesn't like Achilles? Jason and the Argonauts. The Lone Ranger. You know what I mean? It just seems very strange to want everything to be you. Let's remove the main reason why people like James Bond, aka James Bond, and let's make it just some guy. Shut the fuck up. Keep making great characters, keep making great stories, keep letting us be part of these amazing stories. And if we want to self-insert in something, do it in fan fiction or do it in a game where a blank slate is allowed and you can just put yourself in it. It doesn't belong in most things, especially not in James Bond.